Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to something that I want to try and make a little bit more regular because we're back racing. We're back racing, guys. We can actually talk about it. Yes! Yeah, I want to try and pick out and use some of the club crits and everything that we're doing over the next couple of months as an opportunity to, well, basically pick out all the mistakes that I make and we can talk about them. There's going to be plenty of mistakes. Don't worry. There's lots of content here. Right, I don't want to waste any more time. We're going to go straight into the race and have a look at it.
How good is it to be back on the goat track that is Heffron Park? That's right, we are racing again. We have dodgy race videos. It is all go. Okay guys, just to set the scene really quickly, we're about 20 minutes into a crit race here. It's been a pretty hard and fast race with one rider solo off the front. The other scene I need to set is I am the screen on the right with the wheel, and on the left is Jesse Coyle. So really what I want to talk about today, guys, is just my positioning in the bunch and how that affects the way I'm able to race, and essentially the result that I have, and really how important that is for you guys going forward as we start racing a bit more, to think about your positioning in the bunch and how it affects you. So I want to pause it here. I'm going to pause it here because the one rider solo is about to be brought back, which means things are going to start kicking off. Now, if you have a look at the screen on the right, that's me. And you can see there's about 5 to 6 wheels in front of me, 5th or 6th wheel. On the left is Jesse. He's probably 4 or 5 wheels back further than that. I want you to always pay attention to these positionings as we roll the tape a bit further forward. As we roll on, the other thing I want you to watch are my reactions and how the positioning that I'm sort of taking in the bunch is affecting my ability to react. And here comes the first one now. So the rider has just been brought back and some attacks have started. So over on the right-hand side of the screen, remember I was in that top 5th or 6th wheel, and I've sort of surged through to follow one move there, and I will possibly surge through again to follow another move here. And if you can just fly back there to Jesse, he's almost letting people come in front of him to close some of those gaps. And as we come into the last corner up here, you're going to start to see things coming back together again as we come onto the straight. So as we come to the top of the straight, I really want to pause it again here and have a look at the positioning. So you can see me again in the top 5 or 6 wheels. Jesse, a good few wheels back, and as you're about to find out, carrying quite a bit of momentum. Carrying momentum, attacking, and there he goes. Okay, super attack from Jesse, but this race is by no means done. That's just 2 people have gone away. There's way more to happen here. So let's cut back to Chris's camera here and have a look at it. So I've just followed another surge there on the right, but guess what? Guess where I am? Am I in the top 5 or 6 wheels again? Top 5 or 6 wheels. Now there's going to be a little bit of a sit-up. Jesse's moving away. Those 2 people are not going to stay away. People will be attempting to bridge across. So let's pause. Let's pause and have a look at it, and let's have a look. Where am I? Top 5 or 6 wheels? Top 5 or 6 wheels. If I'm going to attack from here, I'm only going to take people with me from behind. What about if someone attacks from behind? Like that rider on the far left there. Okay, you can see how much more speed and momentum that rider carried, but I do want to continue to play this lap out because what's really, really interesting is my reactions, okay? And how almost my mindset of sort of a negative style of mindset affects my riding here. Now, here's Chris, I'm speaking to myself in the third person, but I just followed another surge there, okay? Now, as we can see here, Jesse on the left, it's just the 3 of them now, and they're sort of starting to pull away a little bit. But I want you to just continue to watch the way I ride this and how it's a very following style of race. It's almost as though I'm hoping that by staying in this top sort of 5 or 6, I'll eventually just make my way across. Whereas a mindset change has to happen. Now I've just again let another rider in front of me, but I've then had to close that gap. Like, it's not as if I'm saving an enormous amount of energy by being in this position. I'm still having to make those surges. I'm not willing to drop myself any further back to take any risks. There I am following another surge to stay in the top 5 or 6. Again, almost hoping that if I follow enough of these little surges, I'll eventually get across. But of course, all that's actually happening is behind me, the same thing is happening. And these little surges are being followed as well. So there are no splits necessarily happening behind me. You could argue in a windy race, in really difficult conditions, this sort of tactic would be really, really useful because obviously you'd be staying out of trouble. But in a situation like this, where you really are making your own tactics, it's not an acceptable option. And you can see there on my camera that a few extra new riders have come forward in front of me, people that I've probably just continually brought forward by my style of riding. So what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is to be a little bit more aggressive. And by aggressive, I mean actually drop yourself a little bit further back on the bunch and be in a position to attack. Let's pause it here, guys, because this is a key moment in the race. 3 really strong riders have gone up the road. They went up the road 1 lap ago, but it is still bridgeable. If you have a look at Jesse's camera on the left, he's only a couple of 100 meters away. This is a very key moment. And let's look at my positioning. Top 4 to 5 wheels. If I was to attack from this position, all I would do is drag the people behind me across. In fact, I would probably do a couple of 100 meters, turn around and see a load of people on my wheel and give up. So at this key moment, the style of riding, the positioning that I've adopted throughout these laps is completely affecting my ability to attempt to get across to the break. Now, if we play this forward, let's have a look at how this plays out. So the person in front of me tries to go, has a mechanical, but someone from further back with speed carries through and no one is able to go with them. Unfortunately, poor old Leo has to try and do it, but he's not particularly well positioned either from being up at the front either, and that is the last rider to get across. The last thing I want to show you guys is the last couple of laps from Jesse's camera, because this is really impressive. These 4 guys were clearly the strongest 4 guys in the race, and watching them duke it out over these last couple of laps is pretty cool. I can't wait till we can do onboard live streams from this race. So this is with 3 laps to go, and I want to show you a couple of the last attacks. So the guy's been pretty much riding effectively to this point, and the Sapporo rider, Marcus, kicks it all off with, I think you can probably agree, a pretty solid squeeze down the back straight there. Okay, so Jesse has reacted to that, and obviously in a point like this where it's starting just to turn into an every man for himself, you know, whatever you've got, a lot of tactics and things go out the window, and it is a survival of the strong. But let's see how it plays out. So the attack there from Marcus, I will use names here. I'm sorry, I will check with the guys if that's okay, but most of them should be pretty cool with that. If Jesse's got anything in the legs, I would have probably backed him to have a crack here, but I haven't actually watched this yet, so you're sitting back and enjoying this with me. Oh man, Marcus goes again. That's cool. I didn't expect that. All right, so Marcus is going to go again. It's interesting. Jesse's being quite coy here, isn't he? He's really forcing Luke to do a little bit more than I would have suggested. He's a little flick of the elbow there. Is he going to come through? Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't be putting this up, Jesse. You are being quite the tactician. This is great watching. I'm really enjoying this. Then again, there's another 600 watts as we came over the Pimple. Those of you who don't know Heffron, that is the largest climb on the course. And we're going to come down to the straight. Now, this will be interesting because this is where Jesse attacked the main bunch originally. Not sure if that's oh yeah, this is an attack. Okay. Okay, so he's pretty much going to attack at the exact same point. And as you can probably tell, it's a right to left hand wind, so hence he's jumped as far over onto the left as possible to make sure that there's no one able to get much of a sit on his wheel. And he's probably just going to hold 500 watts down the straight, is he? Yep. So as he comes through and takes the win, I just really want to thank Randwick Botany for getting club racing back up and running. Obviously, we are going to try and support as much club racing as we physically can across the country. I know Ben up in Queensland will be doing something similar. Unfortunately, the guys in Victoria won't be doing that anytime soon, but a huge thanks to that club, and we'll be getting behind as many clubs as possible.
Yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed that, guys. I really enjoyed bringing it to you. And like I said, I want to do more of that stuff on the channel, as especially things open up and we get to do more and more club racing. Okay, we have to have a bit of a deal here, okay, if we're going to make this work. It would be way easier for me to put up, pro racing, a bit like the Lanterne Rouge does, and sort of comment on that type of stuff, because you're kind of removed from that racing. I'm not removed from this racing. I know the people in these races. So you can probably kind of see where I'm going with this. I will always comment on what I'm doing, maybe a bit in sort of what the team is doing, but essentially keeping it me focused, because I'm willing to cop the criticism. That doesn't extend to other people in the bike race. I haven't asked most of these people whether they can be in these videos. So this is kind of where you guys come in. It's really important that this doesn't turn into like, the guy in the green was like that kind of stuff. Because a lot of the time they could be young guys just starting out in bike racing. The last thing they need is like, a comments thread cyberbullying about how they took the corner the wrong way. That said, I'm fair game. Like I touched this in the past. I don't mind. I'm putting myself on here. That's particularly fine. You can tell me that I'm doing things wrong, go nuts. I'm not precious about that in any way, shape or form, okay? So I just wanted to get that across to you guys before I sort of pursue more of this. Now, if you do want to see more of this stuff, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments, like this video, but let me know in the comments. Like, I can't tell you what I'm going to learn or what mistakes I'm going to make from race to race, but certainly if you do like this and you want to see more of it, let me know. But apart from that, guys, we'll see you in the very near future.